I'm here at Balmoral Beach in Mosman, Sydney. This is the famous Bathers Pavilion built in the 1920s, which for the past 20 years has been the home to the Bathers Pavilion restaurant owned by Serge Dansereau. The building has undergone extensive renovations, restoring it to its former glory, and Serge has signed on for another 20-year lease. Serge is one of Australia's culinary legends. French-Canadian, Serge came to Australia in the early 1980s and started to change Australian cuisine at Cable's in the Regent Hotel. He spent 16 years there, taking Cable's to the top of the Sydney restaurant scene. Serge was also one of the first chefs to help develop new levels of quality, engaging with Australian producers to encourage a true paddock-to-plate experience. Serge joined the Bathers Pavilion in 1998 in what was considered at the time a risky move. He has of course thrived and has since developed the venue into one of Sydney's most iconic places to visit, sit and dine. Serge, welcome to G&M.
Thank you.
When you moved to the Bathers Pavilion over 20 years ago, you'd already recognised that Australia was starting to turn a little bit more casual, cafe-style food. And the era of fine dining restaurants is sort of waning a little bit, particularly in hotels. How would you describe the Australian dining scene now?
Well, I mean, from the beginning, I've always identified that we would have a need for a cafe, I have a need for fine dining. And interestingly, because of my name that I had made at Cable's and what I was known for, small producer, I've decided to obviously retain the restaurant and have one of the best restaurants in Australia as far as the location was concerned, as far as my sourcing of the product, as far as the cooking technique, as far as the decor, and I really invested a great deal in that side. But also balance that up with a bistro, which was a cafe that was the same size. And you obviously need 3 customers in a restaurant in the bistro to equal 1 customer in a restaurant. So the balance was really good. Plus we had a kiosk, but we had a function room. So it's been a great move from the Regent Hotel, the Four Seasons, to come from Cable, to come to the Bathers Pavilion and be able to be an owner, to be able to design the kitchen myself, to design the food, the program, and to look after the staff and look after the customer.
And where do you think Australian cuisine is now? It's obviously progressed a lot in the last 20 years. We're fairly innovative. Where do you see us going?
Well, I think it's really important for us to continue working on the produce and continue to serve the best. I mean, I always say that at the Bathers, we have one of the best locations in Australia.
Yep.
We can offer the best produce that you can find, the best wine, the best service. So that is it. What I see the future a bit is to doing residency, is to try to bring some French chef that do maybe a month residency and offer something a little bit different to our customer, and that's what we will do in the future.
Australian cuisine is restlessly innovative. It's constantly changing. You can't get away with producing the same thing like you can in perhaps a French restaurant.
That's right.
Where do you get your inspiration and how do you stay up to date?
Well, the inspiration to come to the restaurant is normally always produce based. I always start, I was downstairs now in the kitchen and we're checking all the beautiful marron that just arrived from Western Australia, the beautiful live marron. Then also we had the last season artichoke. So asparagus season finished, artichoke is at the end, but we have beautiful little globe artichoke that just came in. And I think that's going to be beautiful. So you normally base your menu on the produce, or that's my style. But also I travel quite a lot. I go in Europe, I go in South America, I go in the United States, so I see different things. And it's always a bit inspirational. And also I have a debate constantly with my restaurant manager, with my chef de cuisine, and we always kind of try to debate exactly where are we going next, what other people are doing. I mean, you don't want to imitate other people because everybody decides to have their own style, but we need to define style, which is my personal style. How do we take it further?
Do you have a favourite ingredient or a favourite dish at the moment?
Well, I've always been very big on duck, that's always my thing. Wild mushroom is another product that I like. At the moment, the marron, I've been the first one in Australia to use marron, wild marron. and now we have Farm Marron. So it's always interesting to see what season and what ingredient picks my fancy. I will go to abalone, I will go very soon to Tasmania, and we're going to go and search for new product.
We've got vegetarian products very popular. Vegan is no longer a niche product either.
No.
Striving for sustainability is taken as a given as well. Is the food in your restaurants today as healthier than it was in the past, or do you think that's changing as well?
Well, I mean, we're much more aware of vegetarian people, people that are, and I don't like to call it vegetarian menu so much as a menu made based on vegetable, you know? And that's what something that we offer the customer without a flinch, you know, without saying, oh, I don't want my staff, I don't want the customer to feel lesser if they choose a vegetarian dishes. So even on the a la carte, I have vegetarian dishes, and I have a separate menu that basically encompasses all the vegetables that I can come up with, you know. So I think it's very important these days to have something that you offer that makes you feel that you're healthier, that you are, if you want to consider your diet, that you have this option. And I don't want anybody in the kitchen to flinch if somebody order a vegan menu or so on.
Are the customers you get at Bathurst Pavilion today similar to the ones you've had in the past, or the styles changing as well?
Well, at the moment, because we've just done a renovation, we got much more young people, which is that was the aim.
Yep.
It's really to broaden the market. We've decided to stay with the tablecloth in the restaurant,
Right.
so which is kind of a bold move when everybody's removed the tablecloth. But here at Bathurst, I have a laundry with 2 people full time that can do the tablecloth. And we thought, you know what, we want to make a special restaurant. And I think people appreciate the fact that we have still a very good level of service with the tablecloth and the knowledge of the waiter to sell the food and explain the food and the menu that changed, that rose. And I think that's really important, a really deep wine list and the knowledge that goes with that.
Bathurst is more than just one restaurant though, so is that across the board? You've got the kiosk and the cafe
right.
and the restaurant, is that correct?
That's right. So at Bathurst, obviously I have the kiosk for the beach.
Yep.
I have the bistro now that takes care of the casual, the people that want to come in, but also they have a chance to kind of do some early booking. But it's a casual menu, it's a larger menu, a bistro menu that have all the favorite from the mussel to the steak frit to beautiful salad to, you know, pasta, wood-fired pizza. So we have the full range. So the whole family can come and somebody will always find something that they're happy with, you know. And then you have the restaurant, and also you have function. So we do function up to 100 people. And then we also now have the Champagne Terrace where we offer food and you can come in for a glass of champagne. And so it's a full range, really a food destination.
And at Cables, you pioneered the concept of the chef's table.
Yes.
At Cables, and I believe you still do that here to some extent.
Yes.
It's said that Australians at the moment spend more time watching food with chef's tables and MasterChef television and so forth than they do cooking themselves. How important is this sort of presentation style cookery?
Well, I mean, when we redesigned the whole restaurant, we've decided to have open kitchen.
Yep.
And it's not just for people to stand there and observe what we're doing. It's more for an atmosphere, and people have to see that there's 14 chefs in the restaurant kitchen putting dishes together and all that. And it's part of what people want to know. There's a thirst for knowledge now. They want to know where the product comes from. They want to know how it's been put together. So it's very important to train the waiter to have the right knowledge. But also I still do a chef table, that what I started at the Region Hotel became kind of worldwide famous. And I still do it once in a while. And then people have the opportunity to go in the kitchen, see the back of the house, how it works and all that. But people love that, you know.
What's the most unusual customer request you've had?
Oh, I don't know exactly unusual customer request. I mean, you know, people like sometimes to have wine that's not on the wine list, that I'm aging wine, or I have a new shipment of France, and if I say, oh, you know, next month you're going to have an incredible wine list, we've got some new wine that arrived from France, and people want to see it and they want to be able to have it. So That's a bit unusual to have that. People want the whole building. They want to basically have a wedding, or they want to have a function, and they want to lease the whole building. So they're always unusual because we have so many regulars. So I'm always reluctant to do it, but sometimes people are quite convincing to try to have the whole building. So I let it go.
As well. I know you have an interest in developing children's interest in food. And how important is this, and how do you go about it?
Well, I used to do children cooking school. I used to do tour in the kitchen. I used to do during the Good Food Months. I used to always partake into trying to educate the children and all that. So it's important. Obviously, when I had young children, I saw the importance of teaching them how to appreciate good food, how to cook themselves, how to look after themselves, because I always felt that the next generation will be an issue. Who's going to know how to cook? And I can see that there's a great pressure on, eating out and not so much cooking anymore. It's always easier. And in America, I always see that sometimes the food that you go, the fast food is cheaper than the fresh food that you buy, than you cook yourself. So there's a danger down there that's important to educate our young people.
And I know you also spend time fostering new chefs and developing chefs. What advice would you give someone new starting out?
I would say that it's a difficult industry, on the sense that the hours are not social. You work in the evening, you work on the weekend, and you're there for the long run. It's important to commit yourself. You need to be precise. You need to have passion. All those things, you see a lot of television program that looks that you can be an overnight sensation. It's not the reality. The reality is that it is a lot of hard work. And if you open a restaurant, then you got lots of financial pressure. So nothing comes easy with this industry. And I think you need to go in it with a word of caution and with lots of passion.
And for yourself, obviously running a multifaceted, multi-purpose venue, it takes a lot of time and effort. How do you relax?
How do I relax? I don't live too far from work, so that's all. When I get in my car, it says 11 minutes to work. I thought that's pretty good. I swim a lot. I go with my son on my little boat. I have a little boat near where I live. We have a small marina, and I'm on berth number 1. I have the smallest boat, but the one that gets used the most, and we go for a swim all the time, and we love being on the water. So we don't live far from Balmoral Beach. And like I said, that's the perfect way to relax, is to have a swim and be on the water.
And having spent so much time in this industry, is there anything you would have done differently?
I don't think so. I think that there's the cult of personality. There's a cult of the chefdom, in a sense, to go on television. I mean, you hear all the time about those celebrity chefs, and sometimes I kind of say, what is more important, is to be a flash in the pan for a couple of years on television, or to have a consistent business and looking every day after your customer. And I've made my choice, and my choice was to look after my staff, look after my customer, and look after my family. And I think that for me, it's a great outcome.
Thank you, Serge. I really appreciate your time today, and we wish you a lot of luck with the next 20 years.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.